Glover Teixeira and Jiri Prochazka put on a fight for the ages in the main event of UFC 275 recently, delivering a classic. But the way the fight played out has brought more questions than answers, as some people have suggested that given Glover's advancing years, he should be given an instant rematch. Today we are discussing how the classic fight leaves questions about the future of the light heavyweight division, so stay with us. First up, let's take a look at how the fight played out. Glover and Jiri put on one of the best fights of the year earlier this month, with Jiri submitting the champion in the fifth and final round of the fight to bag Czech Republic's first ever UFC title. The fight was a fantastic back and forth, but some people, like UFC analyst Anthony Smith, have suggested that the reason the fight was so good was because of the amount of mistakes both fighters made. The fight was a bona fide classic, and despite it being a 5-round back and forth, Prochazka just managed to lock in the submission, which was strange given the fact that it didn't appear to be properly under the chin. And Smith, who is a high-level black belt himself, described both as having the worst performances of their life at the same time. He also went on to suggest that Glover looked old for the first time in his career, before jokingly bemoaning the fact that it wasn't Glover who turned up against him. He also suggested that Prochazka wasn't very good either, claiming that both men made terrible decisions, which ironically is what made it so good. He also couldn't believe how many positions the champ gave up and appeared shocked at how many times he was mounted, also saying that they both just didn't fight smart at all. Well, if that was a poor performance by both, we want to see more terrible performances in the future, as that was great. What did you make of it? Next up, what did Jiri have to say about his performance? Stay with us. Fans and journalists alike have branded the fight as one of the greatest UFC fights of all time, and almost certainly the best light heavyweight bout. Both men took some pretty brutal punishment, but Prochazka was able to get the win thanks to a 5th-round rear naked choke to win his 12th straight fight, but more importantly, the light heavyweight title. But some have suggested that given Jiri's lack of defense throughout the fight, his reign at the top of the division might not be as long as other analysts have suggested. His style has been described as reckless by some, and the man himself even said it was a horrible performance, before going on to say, "I don't want to fight like that. It's tough. It's full of blood. It's not beautiful. Maybe for you, it's beautiful. You like to be entertained. But for a fighter, I like to fight clean." And it looked as though Glover was about to retain his title in the 5th, as the Czech appeared to be in big trouble, but Glover couldn't lock in the guillotine attempt. And from there, Prochazka was able to use his legs to kick off the cage and reverse the mount position that Teixeira had gotten into, finishing the Brazilian from there. However, he seems to be aware of his performance and how it was perceived, so will almost certainly be working on those issues and will hopefully be more difficult to hit next time out. So what does this mean for the light heavyweight division? Stay tuned to find out. Well, given the fact that Jon Jones is now targeting his return at heavyweight, the light heavyweight division is now much more even, and realistically, anyone in the top 10 of the division has a shot at becoming the king of the weight class. However, the UFC has a problem. If, as many people have suggested, they rerun the fight, given the classic that it turned out to be, Glover could easily win back his title. This is a worry for the UFC, as some people think he would then retire, leaving the division without a champion and a ton of talent to appease. They would probably then have to do Jiri against either Jan or Rakic when he returns to fitness, but this scenario is not ideal for the promotion. If Prochazka did manage to beat Glover again, many people have suggested that he might not reign as Jones did, given how easy he is to hit and how reckless he appears to be. There is also the worry that his success appears to be based on his ability to take damage, because once that chin goes, that is usually all she wrote. Just look at Cody Garbrandt. However, it's not all doom and gloom. There are plenty of heavy hitters in the division who could put a run together and dominate, with guys like Alexander Rakic still only relatively young. What do you guys make of the state of the division at the moment? We're talking Glover and his one-man vendetta against Paulo Costa now. Stay with us. It's no secret that Glover Teixeira doesn't like Paulo Costa, and the former light heavyweight champion has fired another shot at his countryman this week, after previously digging him out for his vaccine incident, where it was claimed he elbowed a nurse. And Costa caught some heat from the former champ again this week, who has explained that Costa's slightly controversial recent social media posts going after lightweight king Charles Oliveira are just a way to deflect from his poor recent form. Glover was quoted as saying, "The guy sees it and he's like, damn man, this is the way. I'm really not winning, not even hitting the weight or doing anything. I'm like the worst professional. So what am I going to do here?" That's the way out, creating controversy, calling the guy, putting the guy down when he is at the worst moment of his life. Ooh, Charles Oliveira lost his belt. Talking, you know? Because it will sell. Because it will sell. He already knows that. And whilst many people will be able to see through Costa's social media tweets, others might actually listen to the nonsense and jump on the bandwagon, even though Charles is the greatest lightweight in the world at the moment. And given Costa's recent run of 2 defeats, he could fancy a pop at Glover at light heavyweight. What do you guys make of this? Next up, could Robert Whittaker be set for a run at light heavyweight? Former middleweight king Robert Whittaker has his eyes set on a third fight with Israel Adesanya if he manages to get past Marvin Vettori next time out. But Izzy has suggested another route back to a title for the Aussie. Bobby Knuckles has been speaking recently about how a trilogy fight with Adesanya is inevitable, but the middleweight division's main man doesn't seem interested in another bout with Rob. Adesanya is up against the dangerous Jared Cannonier next time out, and the champ and his fellow trans-Tasmanians have been speaking about their upcoming fights at a press conference recently to hype their respective title bouts. And Stylebender, speaking about the possibility of coming up against Whittaker next time out, said, "Bobby, he's a great fighter. He's a great fighter, I'll give that to him. But I know how that book ends. I've read that book twice already. First time was a quick read. The second time was a little bit longer. But I mean, he's probably gonna be at the top for a while. But if we fight again, I know how that book ends. So that's why I'm excited about this next fight. Some new blood, someone I've never fought before." However, Adesanya did have a little advice for Rob, suggesting that he could go up to 205 and see what that's about. But given the fact that Adesanya himself failed in the light heavyweight division against Blachowicz, we're not sure Whittaker will be taking this suggestion seriously. What do you guys think? And finally, some more news from the light heavyweight division. Perennial light heavyweight contender Anthony Smith, who also serves as an analyst for the UFC, will be out again at the end of July against number 4 ranked Russian Magomed Ankalaev. The pair are right next to each other in rankings, with Smith occupying number 5, but you wouldn't think it if you were to look at some bookmakers betting odds for the bout. Smith has urged fans to go get your money, after some outlets have him as a plus 350 underdog or 7-2 in normal odds. And Smith, who fought John Jones for the light heavyweight title back in March 2019, losing a unanimous decision, seemed pretty angry at this slightly disrespectful odds, saying, "Plus 350? That's crazy. That's criminal. If I was fighting gosh darn John Jones and Francis Ngannou at the same time, I shouldn't be a plus 350. That's crazy. I feel like I've been getting a lot better. I'm in way better shape and in a better spot this far out from a fight than I've been in a long time. I'm excited. I think people are writing me off just a little bit." And we would tend to agree with his assessment. What do you guys think? As usual, thanks for dropping in today, and remember to stop by again next time for some more fun and game. Bye guys.